Well, far-right Republicans have a new cause in their so-called war on woke. Take a listen to conservative podcast host Ben Shapiro just this week.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin.
Okay, so Shapiro is urging Donald Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin. This is the former Minneapolis police officer who was convicted by state and federal juries in the 2020 killing of George Floyd. Donald Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk, amplified the idea, saying this is, quote, something to think about. Now, I will note that the president was asked about this in the Oval Office on Friday. And now one of the headlines in the story is wrong. It said President Trump said Friday he's not considering pardoning Derek Chauvin, but that's not true. What Donald Trump said is, a reporter asked him if he was considering it, noting your allies are calling on you to pardon Derek Chauvin. Donald Trump's response was, no, I haven't even heard about it. The president responded, no, I haven't heard about it. That to me is code for, I don't know what they're talking about, but it could get on my desk and I could do it.
Well, the other part of that is you're asking yourself, so why the hell would we want to pardon a guy whom we watched murder a man and was duly convicted at the state and federal level? You have this idea shortly after the video of George Floyd's death went viral in May of 2020. This pundit pointed to video of the incident to dismiss the argument that Floyd was resisting arrest. It's really ugly and really bad, and he said, adding that Chauvin should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. What a difference 5 years makes. Now Shapiro claims that Chauvin's trial was a farce and that his conviction represents the defining achievement of the woke movement in America. So he's gone 180 degrees saying it's really ugly and really bad to, oh, he should be pardoned. So I'd like to know, looking at the video, what changed? What changed? So Republicans, these MAGA Republicans, they're flipping the script here. They come after the left about the woke stuff, right? And all of that. But this is their own version of wokeism. This sort of pretense that they're somehow higher and better positioned and mightier in their thinking about issues like this, that they see more clearly the innocence of a man with his knee on the neck of another man for 9 friggin' minutes. And you're going to sit there and tell me that that's woke, that that's somehow, this kind of, oh, we're offended. Now he needs to be pardoned? I mean, what crime in this country are you not willing to just let it stand? I mean, really, just let it. What crime can
the insurrectionist,
right?
Now Derek Chauvin, come on. Now.
Tell me what crime you're just going to allow it to stand because it's a crime, and they were the justice system adjudicated them accordingly, and therefore, you know what? That's the rule of law. That's how it works. But because you somehow find some pleasure or have some connection, what do you identify with Chauvin? You wish your knee were on that man's neck? Or what about somebody's knee on your neck? You'd want that person to be convicted? But in this land, we can just decide, oh, no, because...
Except we can't, because there is another wrinkle to all of this, and that is that while there are these calls to pardon Chauvin, it would not get him out of prison. Trump has no power to pardon Chauvin's state conviction, none. That's from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. If Chauvin's federal conviction were to be pardoned, he would return to Minnesota to serve the rest of his sentence in a state prison. A reminder that is a 22-and-a-half-year sentence. His federal and state sentences are being served concurrently. So a lot of it is, Michael, to your point, it is about the message it sends.
That's right.
It is not truly about justice or accountability.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Derek Chauvin, to be clear, he is an example of a police officer that had infractions prior to the one that we saw on video. If you look at his record reads like a rap sheet of infractions of police officers. He is what someone would call a bad apple in the bunch. So this idea that, oh, this is this one isolated incident with him is also not true. But some people might say, you know what, this is just a distraction, something else from the right. But I don't think it's a distraction. I think it is actually very intentional. They are trying to, again, never forget, the president pardoned all of the people who were sentenced for January 6th. people who went through the system, people who took up arms against the government, clubs and baseball bats and flagpoles, and beat police officers. He let those people out of jail. His little militia is sitting on ready, okay, as the streets would say. And I do think the two are connected.
Well, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm exhausted with this MAGA stuff. I'm just exhausted with this systematic stripping of the rule of law, the Constitution, girding principles of this country. So
this is why I don't understand black Republicans that are MAGA, because I'm just like, well, how in the world?
Well, that's a whole nother.